There it is. NBA Live Before Lock Sunday, August 9th. Myself, Josh Engleman. I'm joined by my Sunday partner in crime, Zach Brunner. Zach, what is going on? You excited for this slate?
Oh, it's going to be a blast. I can't wait for it.
Oh, man.
So much certainty. Oh, it's great.
There is so much certainty. It's, we've got a Brooklyn Nets team playing tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern time, and they are playing, 3.5 legitimate NBA players. So sifting through that should be quite a fun treat. We just got Steven Adams news about a half hour ago. He is available to play. It's exciting to know that information exists now. I assumed we would get that terribly quickly. I also assumed that he wouldn't play. That's neither here nor there. We're going to have a hell of a time breaking this one down for the next hour.
Yes, we are.
All right, guys. So before we get started, you know the drill. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when all of our content goes live. We've got written content covering everything that's going on today. You just had the MLB Live Before Lock show. We're putting it down for NBA. We'll have the early bird tonight, and then we're back to normal starting again tomorrow. Just hit that like button because that's the best part of it all. 433 concurrent viewers, 68 likes. Let's run that number up a little bit. Zach, I'm going to throw it to you for this one. Who is the guy on this slate you have your eye on most? Where do you want to start? What looks best to you?
It's the chalk play, but it's really hard to get away from James Harden without Russell Westbrook today, especially against the Kings. You almost have to give into it at this point without Westbrook. He's going to have like that 40% usage, and Fox isn't going to stop him. So I don't know.
No one is going to stop him, particularly on the Kings. Tough spot there. I mean, he is without question the guy with the biggest upside on this slate. We're talking about, let's see, let me refresh this. I have Alex's projections. So I've got him at 68.5. Alex has him at 69.7. These are DraftKings projections. Next closest guy is Embiid in the mid-50s. And then neither Alex or I have another player above 50. So he, outside of Embiid, he's projected for like 20 more fantasy points than anybody else. The opportunity cost there is so difficult to get away from. On a previous run of our ownership, we had Harden at 72% on FanDuel and 62% owned on DK. We'll see if that changes a little bit on DraftKings now that Nerlens Noel won't be the extreme value. But yeah, if you're playing in cash, if James Harden isn't the first thing you put into your lineup, you're doing something wrong. And if you're playing in GPPs, that might still be the same scenario.
Right. Yeah, no kidding.
He's just crazy. I mean, 43% usage. I assume like most places are going to have him projected for somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. That is a ludicrous baseline projection. We're talking about like median outcomes here. Craziness. Do you like anything else from Houston with Russ out?
Yeah, I feel like there's quite a bit of value on Houston, especially playing against a team like the Kings, who, they're going to play fast, and I don't think, they're going to offer much resistance. But I really like House, and I really like McLemore still. Covington he's coming into my lineups more often than I would like right now. Okay. I feel like, I don't know. He doesn't have the upside to me at his current price, $6,400 on DraftKings. Not sure what it is on FanDuel offhand.
66,
yeah. I don't think he comes in and puts up 45 or even 40, but some of those cheaper Rockets guys, mid-tier, I think they're good today.
Yeah, this is getting a matchup against the Kings is a really nice spot. Big time from a pace perspective. Like Sacramento gains five possessions for this game, just facing Houston. Houston gains 2. This is going to be a really quick game. I share your interest in McLemore, as does the public. He is currently at 30% owned. I think Jeff Green looks a little sneaky. 9% owned on DK as of right now. 4K. We know Rashawn Holmes is not going to be playing for Sacramento. And since this is the Rockets, how do you think Sacramento breaks down their center rotation? Do we see bigger minutes to Alex Len and or Harry Giles? Or are they just going to feel comfortable playing Nemanja Bjelica more minutes at the 5? I think that can go kind of either way. But I don't see Jeff Green's minutes changing all that much.
No, Jeff Green seems pretty safe. Sacramento, I could see them starting with Len, and then once they get behind, they go to that small ball where everyone can shoot threes lineup just to try to keep up.
Yeah.
And that's where, Bielitsa would be a good play.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect opportunity for Bielitsa. He's at 12% ownership on FanDuel, 11 on DraftKings. It might be a guy I'd want to take a look at. I just don't think his ownership is picking up as like. Would you rather have Robert Covington or Nemanja Bjelica today?
Definitely Bjelica.
Yeah,
there's a path to a huge performance for him, whereas I just don't see Covington getting the usage enough to blow up.
I completely agree with you. Bjelica has 1/3 the ownership on DraftKings, 1/4 the ownership on FanDuel. I have Covington with a slightly higher raw projection, but we're talking about a difference of $1,500 on DK and $1,400 on FanDuel. So if you're looking for that sort of pivot, I like the idea of going to Bjelica. You mentioned Fox before not being able to stop Harden. Do you think that there's anybody on Houston that'll be stopping Fox? He grades out pretty well for me. 30% owned on both sites.
Yeah, Fox is going to shoot as much as he wants. I would assume he puts up over 20 shots today. Yeah. He's just going to run, and even if they get down, I don't think he comes off the floor. So I think he's a great play.
We had Ivan Sanchez in chat said, you don't think the Sacramento game will be a blowout? Line's 5.5 right now, so I'm not in any position to project a blowout. If there's going to be a blowout here, it's likely Clippers Nets.
Yes, I would hope so, but you saw what they did last time against the Bucks with nobody, so who knows?
Also true. Anything else you want to touch on from the Sacramento-Houston game as of right now?
I like Bogdanović. Mm-hmm. He obviously has a nice ceiling. He's one of those guys, either he's going to boom or he's going to bust. I think today's a boom, but you can't go all in on a guy like that.
I agree. And who knows what they end up doing with Buddy Hield. His minutes have been all over the place during the restart. Right. Let's slide over to the Oklahoma City Washington Wizards game, since that is the first game that we'll be locking. That one's up at 12:30, so that's what we'll be taking you to. Not a part of the FanDuel main slate, but it is a part of DraftKings. From an ownership perspective, not picking up a ton. Ish Smith and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander are the two most owned players in this game for DK, both just slightly over 20%. Everybody else coming in less than that. Nobody else in the 20s. What do you like coming out of this Thunder Wizards game? It's a weird game.
It is a weird game. I'm still on the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander train. I was really heavy on him last game. Obviously, that didn't pan out.
Yeah.
But this is one of those games where, again, he's going to be able to pick up stats from all over. He's going to get plenty of rebounds because, Wizards can't shoot and everything else. Another guy I like, just from a raw points perspective, I'm just not loving his price anymore. It's Troy Brown. Yeah. He's been a guy I've been plugging in every single time, but
likewise.
Yeah, at his price, I don't know anymore.
Now, 17% owned right now, 5,800. Based on everything that I've run, you're looking for 44 DK points in a GPP. That's a pretty big number for Troy Brown. When I watch him, he goes through these spurts of being involved in every possession, like driving, shooting, getting in passing lanes. And then all of a sudden I'll look up again and he's been on the floor for 8 minutes and hasn't done a single thing. And I can never reconcile what Troy Brown I'm going to get, which is frustrating when he ends up being one of my most exposed players.
Yes. Yeah, no kidding.
We also got news that Shabazz Napier is out. So how do you feel about Ish Smith now? And do you think it's just Jerry and Grant soaking up those minutes behind him?
I would assume so. I don't think they give a massive workload to Ish Smith as a result.
Yeah.
His minutes seem pretty steady and safe. I think he plays about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Grant, I would assume just a easy pivot in real life and fantasy.
Yeah. For me, it's Troy Brown, Rui, and Ish as guys that I would expect to have legitimate exposure to. That bears out in our projected ownership. Those are three guys in double digits. And then from the Oklahoma City side, Shai, and I think I still have some interest in Nerlens Noel. I can't imagine that, I'm giving him an extra minute or two in comparison to when Steven Adams normally plays. I don't get the sense that they're just going to like run Adams into the ground in this spot. There's no real incentive for Oklahoma City to do that. Do you think Nerlens Noel can still be a decent play? 3,900 on DK. We now have him projected for 12% ownership.
I think on DK, he's definitely still in play. FanDuel, I'm not touching him with the increased price, and he's a power forward over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he should play. He could probably get about 20 minutes. Yeah. Be a little bit better than a point per minute guy, and I don't see a problem with that. And obviously, there's always that risk with a guy coming back from injury that he gets pulled.
Yeah.
Noel would just get all that minutes.
Yeah, that's sort of how I'm looking at it. In that there's a floor to Nerlens Noel where he just plays the backup center minutes behind Steven Adams like he normally does as a 1.1-ish fantasy point per minute guy. And if you don't get anything extra, you're okay. Like you're probably not going to win a GPP based on that, but it doesn't murder you if it doesn't go that way. But there are a lot of paths for him to see additional minutes or see just plain out crazy minutes. If Steven Adams does one rotation and realizes that he can't get out of it, then you're just going to get Noel for 26, 27 minutes at a discount and at 3,900. I like the idea of taking the flyer now. I hope that he goes, I'm happy that the news came out when it did. It might give everybody enough time to get off of Noel and make him viable again. Because before, an hour ago, he was going to be 70% owned on DraftKings. I think people might get all the way away now.
Yeah, completely agree. I've been seeing a lot of people, just fully like, oh, now I have to change every single lineup because of this news. But yeah, completely agree. Now I have actually more interest in them, almost.
Anything else you want to touch on from Thunder Wizards?
I think the pricing for the Thunder is pretty accurate, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. Chris Paul at 8,300, it's tough to get there. Gallo feels like he's not even involved in this team right now. I just don't. I'm good. And then I certainly don't need to cycle through all of the guys that don't do anything, like Dort, Nader, Ferguson, Diallo. These are all just four dudes that can just switch jerseys as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, same exact player in my mind.
Yeah, they get a new one every year, but they keep all the old ones too somehow. It's incredible.
Right, yeah.
Let's touch quick on Raptors, Grizzlies. Raptors are, wow, man. I'm even on my second coffee, and math is apparently difficult. That is a 6.5 point line. For some reason, that was difficult for me to do. Shouldn't have been. Not a ton of ownership coming in on the Grizzlies side. Only Ja Morant is in double digits on FanDuel. Only Jonas Valanciunas is on double digits on DraftKings. Does anybody stand out to you from Memphis? They've been running a pretty tight 9-man rotation, so there are minutes to go around.
Yeah, completely agree. And Valanciunas does look to be the best play, especially on DraftKings at 7,200. They need his minutes to match up with the bigs from Toronto. He's gotten 39 or more in 3 straight games, so I expect that to continue as long as he doesn't foul out. Aside from him, I do like Dillon Brooks. Toronto's pretty good perimeter defenders, but I think Dillon Brooks still has the minutes, the usage to fill it up. He's not one of those shooters that is scoring dependent. He actually does do a little bit more. He rebounds at a pretty good rate. So I do like him as well.
Yeah, I had a lot of Dillon Brooks. Was it 2 games ago for Memphis when he had 20-something in the first half? And I was like, yeah, this is going to be a real good day. I'm way over on Dillon Brooks. And then he decided to simply not really play in the second half. He was out there. He was playing. He was just simply not involved in anything that they were doing. That ended up being pretty frustrating. I've got my eye a little bit on Grayson Allen, probably more so on FanDuel than on DK. He's 3,700. He's playing like 30 minutes a game. He's going to shoot, and if he gets hot, he's going to keep shooting. Solid shooter. So I kind of like him as an unowned punt play on FanDuel, but there's not a ton for me on the Grizzlies. I've been very high on Ja Morant as of late. There's no height for me today, at least not on DraftKings. On FanDuel, he's my number 4 point guard. He's $1,200 cheaper on FanDuel, so it makes it a little easier, but there's just not a ton for me to like on Memphis. Toronto's a tough matchup.
Yeah, I completely agree. Toronto continues to be underrated and pretty much every facet of their game, but especially defense.
Let's see what else we've got here. Retweeting our tweet that we are live, so that's good. Anything from the Toronto side? This is a weird one. They're really, really expensive on DK. Kyle Lowry is $1,800 more expensive on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel. On FanDuel, he is $7K. I love that price. I love $7,400 for Pascal Siakam. I really like $7,200 for Fred VanVleet. Siakam's picking up a lot of ownership. VanVleet, not so much. These are FanDuel numbers, by the way. No ownership at all coming into these guys on DraftKings. What do you want to do with the Raptors?
Definitely on FanDuel, I'm playing Kyle Lowry. I don't know why both point guards are priced down. Doesn't really make sense, but I will take it and run with it.
Yep.
Fred VanVleet has been terrific down in the bubble. He had 3 straight 40-point fantasy games until last time out, which was a blowout. And he still put up 30, about at least 30 on DraftKings I'm looking at right now. He's great. I'll play him every time.
Yep. We are on the exact same page there. There's Lowry and VanVleet simply way too cheap on FanDuel. And if VanVleet really is getting 5% ownership, that might be one of the better plays of the day. He should just be owned more than that given his price tag.
Then there's the Marc Gasol revenge game if we want to go that route.
I don't think that one's going to happen so much. It doesn't seem like they care at all about Ibaka and Gasol right now. They're just going to play like 20-ish minutes and exist. It's just the restart is not for Ibaka and Gasol. Those guys are getting put on ice until the playoffs as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, exactly. They need them healthy.
2 good plays in this game from the presenting sponsor of this show, SuperDraft. That would be Fred VanVleet with a 1.5x multiplier on SuperDraft. Same for Ja Morant, 1.5 as well. I give a slight nod to Ja. I project him with an extra point on SuperDraft, but both guys at 1.5x. You should check that out. And you should check that out by going to superdraft.io. Use the promo code Awesemo10, AWESEMO10. Get $10 on your first deposit of $10 or more. Get $20 on a deposit of $100 or more. You can't beat it. They've got contests for everything. NBA, MLB, NASCAR, PGA, MMA. NFL is going to be here before you know it. You can check that out as well. So go to superdraft.io or go to your app store, download the app. SuperDraft, no limits, more winning. Whiteside out, which was rumored an hour ago and now is official. Do you think that mattered? Let's just slide to that since that's the biggest piece of news. Portland and Philly. Portland really needs this one. Do you think Whiteside being out matters at all for Portland?
For Portland, I don't. He hasn't been playing enough minutes to really impact the rotation anyway.
Yeah.
I guess you could say Zach Collins' minutes are slightly more safe, but I think he was going to play against Horford anyway.
Yeah, I've got Zach Collins in for 26 minutes right now at 4,400 on DraftKings. There's a path for Zach Collins to have increased minutes if Jusuf Nurkic gets into foul trouble against Joel Embiid. Doesn't make me really excited. Zach Collins has not looked great during the restart, but we've got him at 2% ownership. That seems like a flyer I would like to take.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if he does somehow get matched up with Joel Embiid, there's a chance that he starts knocking down threes and forces Embiid out of the lanes, and that's good for him. That's good for guards like Lillard who want to drive in and score. So
yeah.
if that's the scenario, which it's possible. You don't know from Nurkic. He can get foul happy pretty quickly, but we'll see.
How you feeling about Dame, CJ, the boy of friend of the program, Ben Raza, Gary Trent Jr.? Anything standing out to you from Portland in this spot?
I love Gary Trent Jr. just from a personal perspective. He just seems like one of those guys where he's my 2K player just in real life. That's all he does. Just shoot 3. Who cares about defense? Talk trash. But yeah. The price up is hard just because he doesn't do anything but score.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't score, we're screwed.
It's a rough one.
Yeah.
You would think Dame wants to come out and go crazy. 9,800 on FanDuel, 10K on DraftKings. I think there are just so many more cost-efficient options on both sites than Dame. He scares me, but like I'd rather have $1,800 less De'Aaron Fox. I'd rather have $2,400 less Ja Morant. We've got Kyle Lowry. We haven't talked about Chris Chiozza yet. He's $3,900. You can very easily punt at point guard on FanDuel today. I don't get the sense that I'll get to a ton of Dame, especially against Philly, where I know guards like Dame have roasted Philly in the past. It's still hard for me to want to go that direction, even with Ben Simmons out. Dame's just gonna have to shoot a ton and make a ton, which he is not. It wouldn't be crazy to see that happen. That's for sure.
No, I mean, if he crosses half court, he's in range right now.
Yep.
And he's a great play, just not in accordance with his price.
Exactly.
And he would need a really huge performance. If I'm already paying up to there, I'd rather go up a little more and hit Harden.
Yes. Or, at least on DraftKings, I would definitely rather go up and hit the starting center for the Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid. 1.65 FanDuel points per minute during the restart. He's at 35% ownership on FanDuel. That doesn't surprise me at all. You can only roster one center. He is 10-6 on DraftKings. That is the second highest price behind James Harden. Embiid's only pulling in 17% ownership. Is he getting pinched out because of Harden? And do you have any interest in general?
I think it's a combination of getting pinched out because of Harden, and then people are really liking Vucevic because of all the absentees from the Magic right now.
Yeah.
But I do like Embiid. I don't think Nurkic is going to stop him. Obviously, he gets a usage bump, I think about 4.5% with Simmons off the floor. They need him to play well if they have any chance to win. So he's going to be involved.
Yeah.
I do like him. Less so on FanDuel, though.
Yeah, I like him. Ooh, less so on FanDuel. Interesting. Just that much more of a fan of Vooch in that spot?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I don't need to pay up at that point.
I think there's enough value out there that I can pretty easily get to James Harden, Joel Embiid lineups. I just need to start paying very close attention to ownership in that case. But yeah, I think Embiid might be going a little underrepresented on DK given everybody paying up for Harden. Makes for I don't want to say a pivot because I don't really look at them as mutually exclusive, but an interesting direction to go could be Joel Embiid in your DK builds. Only 17% ownership. Also 1.15 multiplier on SuperDraft. That's a pretty big number for someone that I have as the second highest projected guy on the slate. He should be 1 flat on a day like today.
Yeah, agreed.
Do you like anything else on Philly? Toby, Al Horford, Jay Rich, a surging Alec Burks coming out of the last game?
I don't mind Alec Burks with his price. The guy I'm having my eye on, and it's risky, is Josh Richardson. He's been terrible down in the bubble. He has not been hitting his shots at all.
0.5 FanDuel points per minute in the bubble.
Yeah, but it's not because he's not shooting. He's shooting. He's just not making anything.
Yeah.
You can score against Portland though. That's my thing. I think he could be a really good tournament option today, but be careful with it because he's not cheap either, which is the problem.
Yeah.
4,900.
5% owned on FanDuel, 6% on DK. That is the kind of guy that I want to get in GPPs because his role is secure here. The minutes should be secure. Quite the fall from grace from him, man. You think back to him being on Miami and essentially running the offense, playing 36 minutes at a time, and now just a full-on afterthought on Philadelphia. It's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, completely agree. He doesn't even touch the ball.
No, it's weird. It's really weird. Pelicans and Spurs. This one's got a monster total, 238.5, I believe, when I first entered this.
Mm-hmm.
No one on the Pelicans on DraftKings is in double digits in ownership. Their prices are massive. Drew Holiday is 9,100. Pass. Brandon Ingram is 8,500. Pass, but a little less. Derek Favors pops as a value. He has not been a DFS darling during this restart, that's for sure. I don't think that I would get a single Pelican on DraftKings today. Is that crazy?
Definitely not crazy. I'm not playing any of the starters. I guess I would say. If I play anybody, it would be Hart or Reddick.
Yeah,
I agree. But I don't need to do that either.
I completely agree. Zion 6,800 on FanDuel. That's not a spot that I'm looking to go. He's at 16% ownership. Ingram at 7,400 is getting 20% ownership. To me, that's even still higher than it should be. I'm mostly writing the Pelicans off due to their price today.
I agree. And they're priced up because of that point total, but they've hit the under in all but one game down in the bubble. They just keep getting inflated totals, and this is their highest total since being down there, and I don't think it hits.
Yeah, we're on the same page there. Let's slide it over to San Antonio. Really big pace up spot for them. 117 plus implied total puts them near the top of the slate, and you don't normally say that for a San Antonio team. You know what you're getting out of DeMar. His price is pretty much always the same. His role is pretty much always the same. The guys that are standing out most to me would be Jakob Poeltl on FanDuel, where he's 5,100. I think that creates a little bit of a different build if you don't want to go to Joel Embiid. DeJounte Murray is in the 30s in ownership right now. So I guess I'll throw you this one. Do you prefer Murray or Derek White?
100% Derek White. He's more steady. I think he has a higher ceiling. He's one of my favorite plays of the entire slate. So I really like Derek White.
I completely agree with you. And speaking of Derek White, we just got a super chat from Gavin. So Gavin, thank you very much for that. His question, Lowry or White on FanDuel? That one's tough. To me, it's got to be Lowry, but that doesn't mean I don't like Derek White.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Lowry's too cheap on FanDuel. I don't know why he's down there.
Yeah,
and that's a game that can be close too. So slightly lean Lowry, but very close. Yeah.
Yeah, like that is not an indictment on Derek White. I would happily play them both together. I think that's a fantastic combo. And Derek White is at 8% ownership on FanDuel. Kyle Lowry is at 15. So you're not even worried about the ownership from either one of them. I think they're both in two great spots. Exact same price from both guys as well. So thank you, Gavin.
Completely
It's a good question. It's a good question. It is a tricky spot because you're just not expecting to see Kyle Lowry at 7K. And I mean, Derek White is playing as many minutes as anybody else on San Antonio. Are you trying to get to any Jakob Poeltl today? Because he seems to be popping more for me than he is for the public.
No, I'm not getting to him really at all.
Okay.
I view that last game as more of a fluke. But
fair. That's fair.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't really like him against like favors and stuff.
Okay, that makes sense. These guys that end up having prices in like the balanced build sort of tier, that like 5 to 7 range, I run into some issues there where I end up getting overbalanced, and Poeltl right now is perfectly set up in that spot. I do like him a little bit more on FanDuel, where you can change up your build construction if you get away from Embiid, but otherwise it's pretty much just White for me. And then while I want to have some DeJounte Murray, I want to come in under that 30% ownership number for sure.
Yeah, I don't mind Keldon Johnson.
Okay.
I think he's pretty unexciting, but if you need another cheap option, I think he's steady. I don't think he busts on you.
Okay. I don't hate it. He's looked pretty solid during the restart. 0.9 fantasy points per minute. It's nice to see him be able to get time out on the floor. Spurs should have been doing stuff like this for most of the year. It's nice that they're finally playing their actual two best guards together at the same time.
Right. Crazy.
Alrighty, we are at the midway point. 1,455 viewers, 206 likes. I appreciate that run of likes. Being north of 200 right now is great. I think we can do better. Let's see if we can get to 300 before we come down the home stretch as we move over to the Boston Celtics and the Orlando Magic. Oh, God, I hate looking at Boston from a DFS perspective. More so than any other team, I feel like they are strictly based on their salaries. You know what you're getting out of their main 6 guys. And like, ignoring the fact that Kemba has been on like mild minutes limits and stuff. I'm always just trying to find the value based on however FanDuel or DraftKings move their price around. Otherwise, everybody ends up looking kind of identical. What do you try to do for the Celtics here against a super short-handed Orlando Magic team?
I mean, in short, I'm going to avoid as much as possible.
Yeah.
I do like Jason Tatum if the game stays close. I think his price is fair, and I mean, just like last Sunday when we said people aren't really looking at him. He's in a blow up spot. Who's going to stop him on Orlando? I don't think anyone can. So,
no.
Yeah, it's just one of those prices where if I'm going to pay up for some of these other guys, I don't need to pay up for them.
Yeah, 7,900 on FanDuel, 7,900 on DK. He's getting a lot more owned on FanDuel. I have him there as my number 2 on at the position. He's 18th overall for me on DK. To me, I think I just rotate through Celtics. I'll see one of Tatum, Brown, Kemba, Hayward, Tice in a lot of lineups, but I don't think that I'll have any one guy with any sort of volume.
No, I definitely won't.
Does Kemba get the minutes boost today? I know there was the report that they're going to try working him back over 30 as we get closer to the playoffs. I'm giving him 28 for today, which makes him fine. Do you think there's any chance that he goes for 32 plus here? Minutes, that is.
Yeah, I don't think so. Even if the plan is for that, I just don't think this game stays close enough where they need to play it.
Sure.
I mean, there's no... They don't really need this win per se. And also, Magic have Vucevic and I guess DJ Augustine. They should be able to beat them with the rest of their starters.
Well, let's talk about the rest of those guys for Orlando. Obviously, we know no John Isaac, no Aaron Gordon. Who else am I missing? Oh, no Evan Fournier. He is out with an illness that isn't COVID, which terrible beat there. So Vooch is 7,900 on FanDuel, 8,200 on DK, and he's going to be able to shoot as much as he wants. 27% owned on FanDuel, 19 on DK. What do you want to do with Vooch? And what do you want to do with someone like Terrence Ross, who had just an absolute disaster of a performance his last time out, but is probably going to be the main shooting guard for the Magic today?
Vucevic. Playing him, I don't think anyone on Boston can stop him. Daniel Tice is undersized. Cantor can't play defense. I like Vucevic a lot. Terrence Ross is one of those guys I really like to play just because I think he's safe. Aside from there's not many guys on the Magic anyway. Yeah. If the game gets out of hand, he's still going to be on the floor. They're just going to play him and let him shoot as much as he can. And while, Boston's a good defending team, his price is at a point where he could go for 30 plus today.
Do you want to try rotating through these faceless wings like James Ennis, Gary Clark, Wes Iwundu? I gave Melvin Frazier a couple minutes because I don't know who else is going to play for them, but do you get to Ennis, Clark, or Iwundu at all? Oh, God, I don't even like asking the question.
I don't mind Ennis.
Same.
He's been steady at least, and his minutes are safe. But he's not someone I'm seeking out. It's just if he fits, cool. That's about it.
Yeah. Gary Clark is $100 more than the minimum on DraftKings. I get that if you're trying to get to a maybe Harden plus Embiid build, you're going to have to take some concessions, but it's going to leave a lot to be desired. That's for sure. This Magic team is just in a really rough spot right now. I feel bad for them, man.
DJ Augustine, though.
Yeah, 4,100 on FanDuel, 4,500 on DK. Hasn't been great during the restart, but I mean, he's going to be the lead guard here against Boston. To me, he's like a 10% guy, and that's where the public has him. He's just a guy that I'll probably be holding hands with the field for. Do you expect to go a little bit heavier than that?
I think I'll go a little heavier.
Okay.
He's not a must play.
Okay.
But I don't think if there's one area to attack on Boston today, Kemba's not going to kill himself playing defense on DJ Augustine.
No, not so much. Not so much. I like that's a really good point. I mean, depending on how much Marcus Smart plays, that won't be a treat because Marcus Smart will kill himself to try to guard DJ Augustine. But yeah, any minutes he gets with Kemba on him are going to go pretty well for him, I would imagine. So we touched on Portland and Philly already. We touched on Sacramento and Houston already. Let's go to the final game for today. This might take a couple minutes or not at all. We'll see where that ends up. It's Clippers and Nets. So this is at least it was a 12-point line when I woke up. I believe that everybody is available for the Clippers outside of Pat Beverly. Have you seen anything that anybody else is out? Montrezl Harrell clearly not playing either, but we know that one.
Yeah. As far as we can tell from right now, tonight everyone else is going to be active. Yeah. Would it surprise me if they're not? No, because there's no point. They should be able to kill them with nobody.
Yeah, this is going to be disgusting. What's really crazy is in a way I love Kawhi, especially on FanDuel where he's 8,400. I have a hard time picturing the starters for the Clippers playing their rotation in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. You're 100. Even if the game's close, we saw Doc Rivers pull his starters last game.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know why they would be out there in the fourth quarter. That also makes guys like Magruder a little bit interesting. I'm not going to go out of my way.
Right.
But maybe in a couple lineups, some of those bench guys would be okay.
Paul George with a 1.45x multiplier on SuperDraft. That looks pretty good. Do you get to anything else from the Clippers? Can it still be a Reggie Jackson game? Does Marcus Morris gain any appeal? Do they just play guys like JaMychal Green and Patrick Patterson a little bit more? To me, it's just sort of, I can't pick through these guys. No one stands out. But do you have anybody that does?
No one stands out.
Yeah.
Marcus Morris, I would assume, is grouped in with Kawhi and Paul George, where there's no point in playing someone like him minutes. Reggie Jackson's a little bit fresher where they could.
Also, Reggie Jackson is 3,800 on FanDuel, 5,500 on DK. So full stop, don't play him on DraftKings.
Correct, yeah. And then I could see Zubac being a little bit more popular.
Yeah.
He's been really good. And if Jared Allen's out for the Nets, then he looks even better. But I don't know. Again, I don't know why they would play him 25 minutes again. He
is essentially unowned on FanDuel as of right now. Same price as Derek Favors, $400 more expensive than Jakob Poeltl. He's kind of in no man's land. I was hoping that he would be like a natural pivot off of somebody, but there's not enough ownership coming in elsewhere. It's really tough to want to do anything with the Clippers as of right now. I especially wouldn't want lower salaried guys. If I had Kawhi or Paul George in my lineup, I think that's fine because it opens you up to some other swaps if you need that salary. But yeah. I don't know how you go into that game at this time, whether you're playing on FanDuel or DraftKings. I don't care if your lock is at 12:30 p.m. or 2 p.m. We don't have the information on the Clippers that are going to make you confident. Anything could happen for LA. Best of luck trying to sift through it. Speaking of best of luck trying to sift through things, we've got these Brooklyn Nets. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Tyler Johnson at 4K on FanDuel is the most expensive net that will play today. Everybody else is in the $3,500 to $3,900 range. Can you ever remember a time where the entire team is a value play? In a way, a value play. Most of these guys still also suck.
Oh, yeah. That we should make that clear. But no, there's...
Whoa, hold up. We got to stop talking Brooklyn. Nobody cares now. Nerlens Noel and Steven Adams both out.
Really?
Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but Brooklyn doesn't matter Brooklyn doesn't matter anymore.
Okay. So interesting.
All right, well, let's talk through it because that's what people are going to YouTube chat losing their mind. Hey, chat, thanks for that. I know you're losing your mind, so we're going to dive into it now because obviously this game starts in 19 minutes. So Darius Baisley is going to play like 28 minutes at center, right? Oh my God, this is hilarious.
Yeah, there's nobody else.
No, Muscala.
He would have to.
Muscala's out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Gallo at the 5 against Washington in the non-Thomas Bryant minutes. What? Oh boy. Okay, let's hash through this. I'm going to give Darius Baisley 28 minutes at center. And then it gets squirrely. How tall is Deonte Burton? 6'4". 6'4", and he's listed as the third power forward on Roto World's depth chart. Might want to shift those bad boys around a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Mike Muscala is not on the injury report for the Thunder.
Okay. Yeah, he'll play a decent amount of minutes at center then, I would assume.
How many minutes could he play?
I could see him playing about 15.
Okay. Yeah. I think he has to. I think it's interesting that that he is not on the injury report. He could just as easily not play a single second. But we're going to have to go that direction. Oh, yeah. Chat's losing their mind. Muscala is in. He may be in. I have no confidence in that. But, yeah, I'm going to give him 16 minutes.
Right.
Deonte Burton is going to need to play like 20. I think that it's not like I see Gallo picking up additional minutes, though.
Right. I don't think he would either. I like what you said about Baisley, though. I think he played 27 minutes last time out. Not that he killed with those minutes, but he might be asked to play something like that again.
I don't know why. Like, chat just keeps screaming that Steven Adams is playing. That is not true. Not only is that not true, we should have never projected him in. Even if they said that he was available, Steven Adams was listed as out for this game's injury report. So sometimes that's a little bit of an error in the injury report, but yeah, I'm quite confident he's not going to play. Does this make you like Thomas Bryant at all?
Yeah, I've been pretty pro Thomas Bryant anyways. I just wasn't huge on his price, but yeah, I like him today. There's no one that can stop him. He should go over 40 again.
The boss man, Alex Baker, flying into YouTube chat. They also have Kevin Hervey, former G League center.
Okay.
So great. Lucky for us there. He is 6'8".
So he's got size. That's all that matters at this point.
He is definitely tall-ish. I think this is a dumpster fire. He's going to play. Yeah. I mean, I believe he played in their last game out, or it could have been 2 ago. I'm looking at it now. Kevin Hervey played 9 minutes on Friday. I don't assume that he's going to play like a ton of time here, but I'm willing to give him 12 just because.
Absolutely. Yeah. He'll have to.
And then I'm going to walk Burton's minutes back by 6. So let's give him 14. Yeah, that's the best I think I could hope for. So since everybody is going to be most intrigued by this, let's sum up what we think of Oklahoma City now. To me, it's Darius Baisley on DraftKings at 3,400 and SGA at 7,200. I'm still not all that interested in anything else from OKC.
I agree. Chris Paul's price is still about right. He might hit 40, which is value. Gallinari, I don't think his minutes increase by any means because of this news, and his usage doesn't. And then after that, it's just the rest of those guys.
Quick note for everybody in YouTube chat. Don't go to DraftKings for your news.
Correct.
Just don't. Like, whatever they have in their player profiles when you click on it, just don't worry about that stuff. That is not... You don't want your DFS provider to be the source of your information. You want to go to Twitter for that bad boy. potentially other sites that I refuse to name, or just searching for these people. You'll get better information. Don't worry at all about whatever DK or FanDuel has to say in their player profiles.
Right. It's like asking a casino how to gamble. They're not going to tell you the best way to do it.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to only do the things that the blackjack dealer tells me.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you want to be in premium Slack or hell, just this YouTube channel listening to us. What do we do with Washington now?
Like I said, or like you said, Thomas Bryant is a little bit better. I guess maybe the game is slightly closer. Maybe it's like a 7-point spread now. But besides that, I don't think it changes a whole lot. Even if OKC goes small, do you think Thomas Bryant would get out of the rotation?
I don't think so. I can't see why they would. Yeah. I mean, it's not like they're going small with someone with like a scary skill set. And I think that Thomas Bryant will be fine guarding any one of the random people that Oklahoma City runs out at center. Oy.
Agreed.
I guess I feel a little bit better about Rui. On the off chance that they do trim Thomas Bryant's minutes and play a little bit more Rui at the 5 since they can. I think I like him more at the 5 than I would at the 4, but it's not like I'm taking some huge stand here.
Right. And if he goes down low at all, Gallinari's not going to stop him either.
No.
Yeah, I like him too, actually.
Wow, what a day. We started this day thinking Nerlens Noel was going to be like 70% owned. Then Adams gets put back in. Okay, we got even more news. You ready for this one? Karis LeVert, sure. Probable. Joe Harris, probable.
The game's at, 9 hours? So, yeah, sure.
Okay,
it changes everything on Brooklyn, though.
So it changes everything and nothing at the same time. Because if LeVert and Joe Harris are in, then you can just play LeVert and Joe Harris. Makes it a little bit... Oh, Jared Allen, also probable. So everybody that we thought was going to be out for Brooklyn is now in. It makes it really easy to not play Jamal Crawford, Lance Thomas, Justin Anderson, Musa, Donta Hall, Jeremiah Martin. You can just mostly cross those dudes out now. I don't get the sense that TLC will get 32% ownership on DraftKings any longer. That'll probably go down a bit. If those three guys... I mean, this is probably a fully unanswerable question right now with 10 minutes to go. Do you get to anything from Brooklyn? I don't know. I got to change 100 minutes of the Brooklyn rotation for today.
I don't mind Jared Allen at 66. And actually, if those three play, it makes me like the Clippers guys more. Just because it could stay a little bit closer.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, that game should be significantly closer.
Yeah, that's the biggest takeaway, I think, from that news for me.
That the Nets are adding 3 NBA players to their team for today instead of only having 2.5.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so I'm just going to go through this on Brooklyn so that we could just scroll back and talk about it. Why does this... Steven Adams... Now we got somebody being like, Steven Adams is starting. No. Untrue statement.
Yeah, he was scratched.
Yeah. Whoa. Other news, not related to DFS, Warriors star Draymond Green fined $50,000 for public comments about Devin Booker violating the anti-tampering rules.
Oh, yeah. He was talking about getting him. He's saying that he was going to leave, and they asked him on air if that's tampering, and I think he said yeah.
Yeah.
So they just went ahead and sent the fine, I guess.
50 G's. Like, that's so crazy to think about.
Right. And
all right.
It's worth it for them. Whatever. If they get them, watch out.
Yeah, maybe they'll do it. Maybe the Suns will be willing to do a 1-for-1 swap for Andrew Wiggins. Contracts should be pretty comparable. I can't imagine the Suns would have much of an issue with that, you know?
Nah.
All right. Chris Chiozza in 28 minutes. Backup point guard Call it Tyler Johnson. 20 minutes. I don't like that already. Karis LeVert, 34. Right? 32. Joe Harris, 32. Lance Thomas probably plays like 16. Who are we missing now? TLC. Probably still play like 28 minutes. It's rare that you go from this is going to be a team to we're going to put in 110 different like new minutes instead. It's just
right, yeah.
Truly, truly craziness. Give Kuruks a couple extra minutes. Who am I missing? Garrett Temple's going to need some run. I almost got this team fully projected again. Temple 16. I'm playing like 26. Give him 10 here. And then I'll give 6 to insert random person. Jeremiah Martin, come on down. Okay, so do I like anybody from the Nets now? The answer is, yeah, a little bit. Jared Allen, 7,200 on FanDuel, 6,600 on DK. I definitely like that Jared Allen 6,600 price. He also has a 1.65 multiplier on the sponsor of this program, SuperDraft. I'd still play Chris Chiozza, but I'd hate it. That's FanDuel, by the way, 3,900. Otherwise...
Yeah, 46, don't touch him.
No. Karis LeVert, 7,300 on DK. I'd go that direction as well.
Yeah, I think I agree. He would probably get Paul George coverage on him.
Yeah,
I don't love that, but he's got a high usage, enough usage that he's going to be fine, I think.
Yeah, and I also don't think that Paul George is going to like be ratcheting up the D either.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Guys, 6 minutes to go before DraftKings lock. So if you are playing on DK and you are trying to scramble after all of the Oklahoma City news, we are here for you. Feel free to drop any questions in either Premium Slack or YouTube chat right now if you want to get them answered, especially if they are about Oklahoma City and Washington. Zach, do you have anything that you want to touch on now that you haven't gotten in yet?
I think we did a pretty good job covering it.
I agree. I think we did a job that's better than 331 likes, which is what we have right now with almost 1,600 people. I think we've done like a 400 like job, especially dealing with the news from Oklahoma City. That's my thoughts. I don't know. I could be wrong.
And on an early lock for a Sunday morning, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. So hit that thumbs up if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, subscribe to our podcast feeds. We have individual sport podcast feeds now. You can get all of these shows. Well, not the live before locks because they would be useless as a podcast. The slate would already have been locked, but you can get all of the strategy shows that we do and some of our one-off content on the particular sport podcast feed of your choice. Keegster says, LeVert or Bryant on DraftKings?
I would prefer Bryant. If you're making that decision now, you're talking about the first game of the day and the last game of the day, which is tough.
Yeah.
So I would go with Bryant. He's got safe minutes.
I have LeVert by a hair right now. But because it's so close and because I think that situation is so much better for Bryant, and there's still a lot of nonsense up in the air for the Nets, I would lean Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
Question coming in from our Awesemo chat. So I don't even know who's asking this. Thoughts on taking no players from the first game and building lineups later? Any must plays in the first game? I think it's probably kind of tough to get fully away from Washington. I don't get the sense that I would want to have no one from the Wizards. I wouldn't mind getting no one from Oklahoma City.
Right. I do have lineups where I have nobody from that first game for that reason. But overall, with how much uncertainty there is on everything else today, at least we know who's playing in this first game now.
Yeah.
After all of the news, I guess. So it's a little tough.
We got a question that said 9 minutes ago, Sports Illustrated says Adams is playing. Why is Josh so adamant that he's not? I haven't gone to Sports Illustrated since they sent me magazines 15 years ago. That's still a website? Do they do things that aren't magazines? How many people don't know what a magazine is in chat at this point?
Adams is out.
Yeah. You know what's going to be the best part? When he's like somehow in.
Yeah, both of them starting. Noel and Adams starting alongside each other.
So circling back, we got another super chat from Michael Miller. We got 3 minutes to go. Troy Brown Jr. today. Yeah, I'd be happy to get there. That he's not a guy that I would want to just fully skip out on, for sure.
No, he's able to fill it up in a number of different areas. So yeah, I definitely like Troy Brown Jr. Not as much as other days, but I'm still on him for sure.
Only thing SI is good for is the swimsuit edition. You guys know the internet has women on it, right? Better than swimsuit pics. The swimsuit edition is great for an 11-year-old kid whose dad got the magazine 20 years ago. It's not at all that interesting nowadays.
Agreed.
Yeah. It's just,
again, didn't know they still did the swimsuit edition, but
yeah.
Cool.
Who's buying that or getting that? I guess no one. But that's neither here nor there. 2 minutes to go before lock. So be sure to get your lineups in if you haven't done that yet. And on FanDuel, lock is in an hour and a half. So you can safely pump the brakes and slowly work on your Brooklyn Nets, Los Angeles Clippers projections. I'm assuming we're going to see that line move too.
Yeah, it'll have to. Let's see what it's at right now. I would assume if those three get ruled in, I would assume it goes closer to 9 points maybe.
It's still sitting at like 13 pretty much everywhere. So at least from what I'm seeing, might be that's such a weird recommendation. Like might be a decent time to hop on Nets plus 13 because the Clippers can still beat them by 6,000 today.
Right. FanDuel has them at plus 11 right now. So it is moving.
Okay.
It's a good plug for Odds Shopper, though. You can definitely look at all the different sports books and compare where the lines are at right now.
Absolutely. You'll see the logo on the top of the screen when you go to awesemo.com, but click on Odds Shopper by awesemo.com or go to oddshopper.awesemo.com. It's a fantastic place to track bets, to see lines across multiple sports books. We're slowly rolling it out, slowly adding more. So I hope you guys go and check that out. We're at 395 likes. I know I've been begging for them today, but I have to beg for 5 more. We cannot end this stream. It's 12:29. We can't end it without hitting 400. That's just crazy.
No.
That's not going to work.
That would be such a buzzkill.
Yeah. So, all right, we're up to 399. Who's going to be the winner? All right, 406. I appreciate you guys more than you'll ever know. And we are locked. DraftKings is locked. Everybody gets to line up and watch the Oklahoma City Thunder take on the Washington Wizards. Or, if you're going to be like me, you're going to put on round 4 of the PGA Championship. Zach, what big plans for today? What are you doing for the rest of the day?
I'm going to try to watch as much basketball as possible. We will see, though. At this point, I need to be by the computer to change my lineups when the next player gets ruled out.
Agreed. I hear you. Oh, so not only did we get to 400, we're at 475. You guys are savages.
Wow.
You're getting so close to 500 that now I have to do this again. Hit 23 more, guys. 23 more. That's all we need. You can't take me so close to the next tier. I got more than I was asking for. Now I have to ask again. I feel terrible.
Ugh.
But I appreciate it nonetheless. 487, we're slowly getting there. There's still 1,300 people in here. If you haven't hit the thumbs up yet, do it. If you have already, don't do it again. It'll go away. 507, there it is. There it is. I think we're good. Zach, any final thoughts on this slate?
It's a typical NBA slate. This is what the epitome NBA DFS is. I love it and hate it at the same time. It should be a fun day.
I couldn't agree more. This is the NBA during the essentially last week of the regular season. It feels super familiar. Best of luck to everybody. We'll be back tomorrow morning as per usual. It's going to be myself and Shit My Money, Adam Scher, breaking down the NBA to start the day. So I can't wait for that one. For Zach, I am Josh. Thank you guys and good luck.